Hello my crafty friends and welcome to my YouTube channel Corrine Crafts. I hope you are well. I hope you've been doing lots of crafty goodies, or making lots of crafty goodies should I say. Now today I wanted to do a little bit of flower making, and these are the flowers. Look at these, aren't they beautiful? Look at the colours. I wanted to make it really vibrant. I'm going to have to like pan across to get it all in. Isn't that absolutely beautiful? Now these are made out of watercolour card, and I'm going to show you how to do this with a stamp and die set. I mean, I'm sure you've got some stamps and dies for your flowers. If you haven't, you can always just stamp some and cut them out by hand. It'll work either way. But the watercolour card creates a completely different effect, different texture. These are, look at these, they're really hard. They're not going to bend. They're not too delicate. As long as you put it in a box to give the card. Look at that. And we've coloured both sides so that you can, you know, all of the, look at that. And I love the green of the foliage. I picked that on purpose. I hope you enjoy this. I'm going to show you how to make it now. It really isn't too complicated. Let's see how it's made. Goodness me, I am so excited to be bringing this card project to you today because it's incorporating some of my favourite techniques all about making flowers. And today's flowers are going to be made out of watercolour paper. So yeah, something a little bit different. Don't think I've shown you this technique before. So I want to quickly put the card base together. We're not going to spend a lot of time on this, but it's a different shape for me. So it's still a regular 10-folded card, but we've kept it quite a bit different. So the card base is, what's that, 4 1/4 by about 9 1/4 ish inches of card. So I've got that from a single sheet of A4, folded it in half and trimmed it down. Now on to there, I've got this, and it's officially called raspberry. I don't know what colour it's going to look like on your cameras, but I'm going to team it up with my raspberry shimmer ink pad as well, so it's going to work really well. So onto there I've got raspberry and the white. Now I could cut that out, but it's quite a slim bit, so it's quite hard to do gutting that out. So I haven't for once, because I don't feel like I'm wasting too much, because I like to leave about 3/4 of an inch border all the way around. Yeah, I could have actually got the matte layer for my sentiment out of this, or drop shadow rather, but I haven't, so I've just gone with it. Oh, pardon me. Okay, so I'm going to pop that onto there. You know, I like to put white between my layers. I just think it pops, and you'll see the white on this is really, really fine. So I've got about a ½ inch difference, and then I go down by 1/8 of an inch. Oh, yeah. And then onto there, I'm going to put a little bit of gold and some white. Now this is where I'm showing you, look at that, the matte layer in between with the white is really, really slim, but it's just enough, once I get it on square, it's just enough that it's going to give some definition between the gold and the red. I really wanted it quite slim. I just wanted enough to, you know, just to put that little bit of differential there. So we can put these on. Now, again, I ummed and ahed about putting this bit on with foam tape, but I just decided, no, I'm going to put it on flat, because I'm going to put my dimension in on the top layers. So I just thought we'd keep it going nice and flat for this. So I'm just going to burnish those down. There we go. That's like that. And I'll tell you what I am going to do. I'm just going to grab, as I've done here, a couple of my stamping blocks. I'm just going to put those over while I push that out of the way and I get my next layers ready. Now my next layers I've made with these nested dies. They're advanced nesting dies from Crafter's Companion. What I actually wanted was a decorative panel, and I came across these first, and I can be a bit of a lazy crafter sometimes. I thought actually these would work really well. So you get 3 dies in this set, but you could be doing it with any rectangular shape. I have to admit, it was these that then generated the size of my card, and I'm not going to use the largest one. I probably could actually. Oh, I'd have had to have changed the shape of my card, but I could have done that one. But what I decided was I would just use the 2 inner ones. Now, when you look at these, you'll see there's no cutting blade on the inside. So when I cut them out, you can see it cuts the white one like this. It cuts a nice panel. The middle-sized one, and then the smaller one cuts like that. So I've got some panels on here. So I've cut them out of both white and gold, and we're going to do a little bit of drop shadow. So this is the exact same gold that I've done my matte layer with, so I think it should work really, really well. So let's get rid of. So what we want to do is create some matte layers. So drop shadow. So normally your drop shadow is just going to go like that, create the smallest little hint like that. But what I'm actually going to do for this one is I'm going to grab my scissors. It's going to look a little bit different. I'm just going to get roughly the centre. I'm going to cut it in half. I'm going to do the same with this one. There we go. And what we're going to do is we're going to put this, actually I'm going to get my precision glue gun for around the edges because it'll make life a lot easier. So you'll see while we're doing that, this is now over to the edge getting pressed nicely. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just take my precision glue gun and just go around the outside. If you wanted to, you could do it with sticky dots, dotted tape pen. You could have put double-sided adhesive on the back of here before you die cut it. It's entirely up to you. So we're good. Instead of being like drop shadow in one way, what we're going to do is we're going to drop shadow in 2 directions. Take that from there. I'm just going to put regular tacky glue in the middle, and all I'm going to do is I'm just going to go drop shadow to the left, and it really is the slimmest drop shadow. I just want it to sort of twinkle more than anything else. Now it's not really showing there, so I just need to drop up or down. So I'm going to drop down just so that it shows. I can lift that down. Can you see we've just got that tiny tinkle of gold, and then I'm going to do the same on this side. And again, this is another reason why I like to use a wet glue, because it gives me time to move things around. Now if you wanted to, you could be really pedantic and put a little bit in here, but we're going to put lots of decoration on, and I don't think people are even going to be drawn to the fact that there's a little gap there. But you could just get a little bit of gold and fill in that gap if you wanted to. So that's the one, and can you see it really is the merest twinkle of gold, but that is how I like it to go. So this one is definitely a precision glue job number on here, just to come all the way down like that. It's very controlled, and all the way along here, and then we can do this onto here just like this. So I hope you really like this. I've had this one in my head quite some time. I just knew I wanted to do it, but it's just been getting around. I have so many project ideas in my head that sometimes I just have to say one at a time. So I'm going to drop shadow down to the bottom again, and to the left, like I say, the merest hint just there. Really doesn't want to be much, and then drop it to the far end and down again on that side, so you can see all it does is it just almost lights up from underneath. Now they're not, oh, I've gone different directions on this. The glue is just letting it move, so let's just make sure we've got the same drop shadow all the way around. There we go. Doesn't that look pretty? Don't worry, it's curling up a little bit. We're going to sort that. So what we want to do now is stick these onto our card base. Again, if you've got time, this is where you can start putting your something weighty on it, just to give it a minute. I can just put that on there, and I can bring this one. So I'm going to pop this onto here. I'm going to just put a little bit of dimension. So it sticks to foam pad. I love this one. You'll see me use this all the time. It just lasts for so long. So I'm going to turn that over and go straight across the back. One. And I showed you on a recent card, if this isn't enough height, all you do is double up the foam. Really easy to do. But for me, for this is perfect. It's about 2mm, and I just think that is about the perfect amount of height. All we're doing is creating something for our gorgeous flowers to go on, and pokey tool on the back, and that will then just pop that off there, and away that'll go. And again, if you want to, a wet glue, any wet glue, glue stick, wet glue, anything across the back of there, just like that, and that will then, make sure I put it the right way around, pop that on there. So that'll go on like that. First one. So we're still doing white on white, keeping it quite gorgeously white. Oh, might need that in a minute. And then we've got this one. It's just flattened down a little bit. So let's get some more foam tape. And then we can do one piece across here. As soon as we put this on, look, everything that was sort of having a little bit of curl will then just flatten back out again. So I really wasn't worried at all. And I'll tell you what I'm going to do. That little bit that I cut off is going there, and that little bit that I cut off from the other one is going there. So perfect, perfect, perfect. And then again, we're just going to take 1, 2, all the way off, just there, just like that. Okay, so I'm going to just risk it without the glue on. Actually, I've got a little bit of a pink mark on there, so I'm going to just turn it round. And I'm just going to pop that on like that. And they nest absolutely perfectly because they are nesting dies. And it would be even prettier if I put it on straight. Oh, don't want to lift, I pressed it down too firm. I think that'll be all right. I think that should be fine by the time we finish decorating. Right, now the next thing I want to do is I've got a sentiment, and I've got my white sentiment. It's my I've got them here, all of my Sharon Callis ones. So this one is, I can't even find it in there, they're all stuck together. This one is my Congratulations. These are really old, but I'm sure you've got sentiment. So yeah, it's the floristery words of wisdom sentiments. I love these. Sometimes you just want something nice and thin, so this is why I love these ones. So this is my Congratulations, and I've cut it out of white, and I've cut it out of that same raspberry from there. So I just want a little scrap of card and use this bit. Gives away a bit of what we're doing. So let's come on to this side. So I want dotty tape pen, and I'm going to turn this over, try and find a little bit of here that hasn't got any ink on, and I'm just going to go across here. Oops, I've just ripped it. I'm not doing very well with that. Oh no, I haven't ripped it, I've just creased it. Whew, that was lucky. Thought I'd ripped it. I was going to put it back together, but it's fine. So take the white, drop shadow. I always drop shadow off to the left. It's just what I prefer to do. Again, it's only the slimmest drop shadow. Now, I'm not actually going to stick my sentiment on for a minute. I'm just thinking of spacing. As I'm doing this, I'm thinking in my head while I'm doing it along. I'm always thinking of the next thing that I'm trying to put on. And I'm just going to get it ready. So that now, once I put it on there, because it's got that drop shadow, looks amazing, doesn't it? It just pops it out. So let's leave that there for a minute, and I can put all of that to one side while we make our flowers, because this is the bit I really, really get excited about. So let's move that out of the way. So the flowers, I'm going to make them from my Timeless Carnations. Now I love this because it's a die and a stamp set, and I love that. So you've got your stamps. I've already got some stamps on some rocker blocks. So you get 2 of the carnations. These aren't going to look like carnations, I don't think. And then you get your leaf. So you get your leaf in the stamp and in the die, and you get your 2 stamps and your 2 dies. Now, what I wanted to show you is your stamp is quite a bit larger than your die. That's how it's meant to work. So I'll show you how this works and how I personally do these. So I'm not going to use, I've already cut one of the larger one, so I'm not going to do any more of those. So for now, I'm going to get this ready. So what I've got here is stamping mat. I've got my watercolour card, if you can see it's watercolour card, and I've got my Carnation stamp on my rocker block. Now I'm going to use quick dry ink. I got this ready last night because I've been at work today, and I've had pink ink on my hands all day. I love my quick dry inks, but golly, do they stain your hands. There's lots of ways to get rid of them, the staining, but they just do. Right, one of the flowers, one of the leaves. There, just like that. Perfect. Don't worry about that. I'm cutting it out. I'm leaving those on the rocker blocks because I'm going to be using them again. So I'm going to bring this to my cutting plate, and then I'm going to get my dies, and you'll see, as I said, the dies are quite a bit smaller than the flowers. That's fine. It means I can line them up really easily. I can see what I'm doing. There's different ways to do these. Now, these are cut and embossed dies, and the reason you know these are a cut and embossed die is, see these open fretwork, there's no cutting blade around that. That's because that is actually an embossing element. So what it's designed is for the paper to be pushed from the underneath up through there. So what we need to do is cut them first. So these dies always take me a minute to find my right way round. You can guarantee, oh no, have I got it? Have I got it? Oh, third guess, not bad. So I'm going to pop that through there. Now, the other tip I could give with cut and emboss dies is you need all your mats, but I always put my plastic shim on next, then my magnetic shim, because we're going to be opening up the die plates. Let me just get this going through and then I can talk again. Right, put that through my die cutting machine. So it's going to go through my machine, and I need to open up the plates to change the magnetic shim out. So what I find it easier to do is not have the magnetic shim next to the dies because it can pull. So take off the plates. I've turned it upside down. I'm now going to put my rubber shim over. Look at my poor rubber shim. It's so poorly. Turn it back over, and then I can lift that off and take out my magnetic shim. Put that away. And that will then mean that I've not had to disturb those dies. So we can now run it through. So we've got 2 cutting plates, plastic shim and a rubber mat. So those dies that I've just cut will now emboss. So let's get those through. So the difference is now that if I run my hand across there, this paper has been pushed from underneath. Now, I don't know if you can see, but you can see all of the embossed detail on there. So I know it's worked perfectly. So again, I'm going to move those out. Oh, I want that. Don't get rid of that, Corrine. Getting rid of too much too quickly. So we can take this out. And I need my pokey tool because it's embossed it. So what that's done is we now have an outline that has been stamped, and it's also got the embossed detail. It's quite hard to show it on camera, but it does make a difference, and when I start to ink it you'll see the difference, and you can see on here as well. So it's cut that out. Now when it's stamped, it had this harsh bit round the edge. Once I cut it out, that's gone. Now if you want to use it as just a stamp, that will work brilliantly, but we're not. We're going to be using it to make some flowers. So get rid of that. So what I want to do now is bring this in. I've got the stamping on that side. I'm going to turn it over and we're going to stamp on the other side. Now, don't get hung up about this. It's impossible to you could line it up if you've got your stamping platform, but I find that it almost doesn't matter which one you do this way around. It doesn't have to be lined up. All I want to do is get a few lines. You can see I've missed. I've not even done it in the right place, but for me it's enough. I'm going to do the same with the leaf because I like my stamping to be on both sides. Let's turn that round. It's quite hard for me to see because of the camera, but I think that'll do. And then I've got some detail on that. It's not perfect, but it's perfect for what I need. So I'm going to turn that over just like that. And now I'm going to switch from my quick dry ink pads to, I showed you a few minutes ago, my pearlescent ink pads. I'm using Queen Bee, raspberry and lime soda. So I'm going to grab my Queen Bee. I've got one of my little mini daubers I picked up when I went to Doncaster. I love these, and I'm just going to do in the middle. Can you see now the shimmer? Oh, I love the effect of these on this. I'm going to go around there. We're going to be making a 2-dimensional flower, so it's really, really useful to have all that dimension. So I've got a couple sort of made up. Then I want my pink, my raspberry, and I'm going to really, really just go to the edges, and it doesn't have, it can blend, the pink can blend into the yellow. Sometimes I blend it right down to the yellow, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I have a little bit of a fade. Now you sometimes have to go in quite hard to get a thick detail, but again, having that emboss on there really helps. Can you see it really picks up when I go in there, the embossed detail? I love it, and it's a slightly different colour to the fuchsia quick dry, so it adds that dimension and that definition. So there we go. Doesn't that look beautiful? And then all I'm going to do with the green one is get the lime green, again with a dauber, make sure I've not got anything on my fingers, and then I'm just going to go all over and maybe a little bit harder around the edges, and then flip that over. And you can see once you've put this on, it doesn't matter if you've not lined it up. It's just about having that detail on there. I mean, who's going to examine a leaf that closely? I mean, no one, are they? You're probably not going to even see the underside, but I just feel like as long as I've got it done. Okay, so I've got a couple already sort of shaped. Really easy to shape. It's entirely up to you how many flowers that you do. I've got another, I'm just going to put some ink on this leaf, just that I've got 4, because I've already got 2 ready, just to give me an extra bit of an option. I know when I do these flowers the videos run a little bit longer, and I hope you will forgive me for that, but flower making does take a little bit longer. Okay, so once I've got that, all I'm going to do is this is the reason why I've done it on watercolour card. So I'm just going to get that, and I'm just going to give it a little mist. Absolutely fine. So what I've done is I've wet the card through a little bit, and that means that when I start to shape, it almost collapses in on itself, and that's going to give me lots of definition. Also, the pearlescent ink changes slightly when you wet it, so I love it. I know there used to be certain craft companies used to sell embossing sprays. I was never comfortable about those, because really all you need to get a good emboss is water, and you know, should we really be paying for a sugary water solution? It's a bit of an iffy one, isn't it? But this works really well. So I've done that. So those ones have dried. So all I would do, if you want to speed it up, is my wet one, I'm just going to grab my heat gun, I'm just going to dry it, and I'll be right back. Okay, that'll do. I've not even dried it too much. I just wanted to, I mean, I hardly sprayed any water, but it actually feels a lot more shaped. So I've got 3 layers here. So I've done some with 3, I've done some with 5, I've done 4s. So it's entirely up to you how many layers you want to do. But the more layers you do, the fuller it's going to be. I've done quite a big one. This is my fuller one. This one's got 1, 2, 3, 4 layers in. So this is going to be my largest, so I want one that's a little bit smaller. So I've not even gone for one of the large petals. These are all the small. So I'm going to just take one. I'll take this one from the bottom. Again, another reason for drying them is your hot glue won't stick if it's wet. If it's wet, it'll appear to stick, and as soon as you let go, it will just pop off, and it won't be dry. Just put another glue stick in, just be 1 minute. Oh, it's still quite there. I thought it was falling off. That's not going to stick. I'll just have to give that a minute to go further down. It wasn't pushing down, so I thought it was running out. So I'm going to get this one. And again, just all I'm doing every time I put them on is I just keep staggering. And then each time, just press down with your ball tool. And what you're doing is the hot glue bends up round the ball tool. So what that's doing is it's going to set in like that. So the glue now creates a little cup. So this will never go flat again unless you break the glue. It'll hold like that. And also the ball tool is flattening that glue, so you've not got something bulky. So once I've done that, I'll just get my pokey tool and I put a hole through the middle. Again, another reason I do this quite quickly, even if I'm not going to put my stamens in straight away, is the glue is still quite pliable. But this is the firmest one. So right through with my pokey tool. Then, and I just saw it, oh, I've got a tiny little piece of floristry wire. This was just a piece left over. And I've got some black stamens. I love these flowers with black stamens. I think it's really quite effective. And now yesterday I was making these, as I said, I made a couple last night, and I wanted to put more stamens in the middle, and I just couldn't get them through the middle because your watercolour card holes, I found I couldn't get through more than about 5. You might get through 6, but remember 5, once it's folding up, gives you 10 stamens anyway. 6 would give you 12, so I think that's quite a good number. So a little bit of floristry wire over the centre of my stamens, fold that around, and then we just bend it up. That's going to give me all my floristry wire for me is as a guide, and I know a lot of people don't even use this. How they get it through, I don't know. If you struggle, I have a pair of pliers at the side of me, so all I'm going to do is grab my pliers, and then I'm just going to pull. There we go. I just find it sometimes a little bit easier, and then we can put those through there. Would have liked a few more stamens, but I couldn't get any to go through, so not to worry. Take the floristry wire out, get my hot glue gun, and then just go round the outside, just there. And I'm just going to give that a couple of minutes to dry. Once it's dry, you can cut it off really, really flush. And I would recommend you cut it off as flush as you can. Not too flush, you need to make sure there's still some glue there, and you can see that. So I've got a bigger one and a smaller one, and then hopefully when this is finished, it's going to be a second smaller one. So you can see I've got quite a nice little cluster. All right, whizzing on, because I don't want to make the video too long. I will try and edit out little bits that I can. So I'm not going to, actually, I might just go for it with my congratulations and put it down that way, because I know it's got to go on somewhere. So let's just go for it. So let's just pop my congratulations on here. So this could be congratulations for a wedding, for a birthday, for an anniversary, for a new job, or anything that you want. Okay, so we've got this on. Congratulations over to one side. That's left me a little bit of extra space. So I've kept my hot glue gun on. Just give myself a bit more wire, and I'm going to pop myself a nice blob of glue just there. And let's pop that one just here. Now, I've seen a few cards a bit like this with just the one flower, and that might be enough for you. We obviously need our foliage, so I'm just going to pop that. I really wanted something really, really contrast with the green. That's why I've gone with these bright colours. So if you wanted to, that could be it. You could leave it at that, but I want to put on a little bit more flowers. So I'm going to put a little bit of hot glue on there, and then I'm just going to tuck that in just there. Once it's dry, you can shape it, put it where you are. I'm just pressing that glue down. Just want to make sure it doesn't go over my sentiment. And can I get my second one in? Right, so this is what I meant. Once it's dry, there we go. Oops, just cut that off. So I'm going to fold this up, make it a bit more bud-like. Put a little bit of glue down here. I really will have to put that other glue stuck in now. It's ready for it now. Let's go that way round. It's better. There we are. And then we can pop that one in there like that. I've got 2 more leaves. While that glue's nice and hot, we can pop. Actually, that could go. Now you can put your leaves on first, but I find that if I put my leaves on first, I often get them in the wrong place. So I like to put my leaves on afterwards. And you know me, I've said it so many times, I really feel that foliage anchors down the flowers. I think without it. Now this is definitely a card for a box. I think you're going to struggle with an envelope. Now I've just got to watch that because that leaf was getting a bit close to the bottom. So we've got our open flower. So you can see I haven't made them like carnations. I've just made them into beautiful, beautiful flowers. Now you can stop there. Should we have a look for a couple of gems? I think the water droplet ones. So I just need, there we go. I do like my scissors tweezers for these. So I'm just going to grab a couple of the gems, pop them on here, just around, just randomly around there. You could even put one or two on your foliage to look like little water droplets. I've got congratulations, that's an I, so I could get one and put it just there, and that will do. That's all I need to do. How about that? Now I know I've whizzed through a few bits, but I hope that's really helped you. So these are really robust, they feel really firm. That's the watercolour card. I really, really like it. It's going to stand up nice and tall like that. But can you see, as soon as I put that there, you can see the backs of all of these petals. Can you see now why I wanted both sides of the paper to be coloured? Once you've got it set and the glue's dry, you can adjust, you can ruffle your papers, and it will let you, because as I say, it's watercolour card and you can really be quite robust with it and have a play around just like that. So I can really manipulate them. But how beautiful is that? That gorgeous pop of colour to the left, you have to think about that, and then your simple sentiment over to the right. It's one occasion when I do enjoy using white card. Okay then, so I hope you like that. This is Saturday, so this is my Saturday tutorial. I won't be posting tomorrow, which is Sunday like I usually do, because I believe Monday is the first Monday of September, so I'll be doing my next colour challenge. Where has August gone? I've only just launched the August Colour Challenge. I hope you have enjoyed this. Please come back on Monday to see my colour challenge for September. If you're worried about missing it, click on the link. I'll try and get it put up here. I'll have a go. Or click on the links down here. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. I will be back with my next colour challenge. And until next week, happy crafting, everyone. I hope you're able to get some crafting done this weekend. Yes, enjoy whatever you're making. And please don't forget to share your makes with me. So until then, take care and enjoy your crafty time. Bye for now.